If you're on Zoom, if you could please turn your cameras on. I'm going to go through the roster and do roll call really quickly. So let me get that out. Okay. All right. Senator Niet, Senator Manning, Senator Vargas, Senator Waller, Senator Rojas has an approved absence. Senator Tran has an approved absence. Senator McCain, Senator Ocampo, Senator McNamara, Senator Buchanan, Senator Kirkby, Senator Brown, Senator Gossett, Senator Kai,
Present.
Senator O, Senator Carnes, Senator Holman,
Here.
Senator Santee, Senator Reed, Senator King, Senator Minnick, Senator McAdams, Senator Govea has an approved absence. Senator Harlan, Senator Bahita. Is that how I say it? Bhatia, sorry. Senator Bhatia, Senator Black, Senator Mattern, Senator Khan.
Hello.
Senator Okiki. And
Here.
And Chief Justice Burleson. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the minutes on. I hate when it does that. The screen. Zoom, can y'all see this? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. Y'all have had a chance to look at the minutes from last meeting. I'm just going to scroll through these. All in favor of approving last week. Oh, I entertain a motion to vote on last week's minutes. All in favor of approving last week's minutes, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji. All opposed, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji. Any abstentions? All right, we will go ahead and move right along to our agenda items. Zoom, just making sure again, can y'all see this? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, anybody here for open forum? Okay, well, moving on to speakers podium. Today we have Dean of Students, Andy Petit, and we have Executive Director of University Communities, and I'm going to mess up your last name, so if you could say it for me, Joe Berthium. Okay, awesome. Did I say that right? Berthium? Okay, cool. All right.
Good evening, everybody. So we're like almost a month into the spring semester already, which feels a little crazy. How's everybody doing? We feeling good? Classes are off to a good start. Orgs are good. SGA is rocking and rolling as always. Excellent. Well, I'm Andy. For those of you who I haven't met, I see a few new faces in the room. I'm the Dean of Students and Assistant Vice President for Student Success. I'm the co-AVP to Mr. Neves in the back of the room. And so I oversee most of our student support offices and one particular office that we're going to talk about this evening, which is Housing and Residence Life. But first, we have a fantastic human being. Dr. Joe Berthium comes to campus with 30 years of residential life and housing experience. He brings in a wealth of expertise, and we're looking forward to him. But I wanted him to have an opportunity to introduce himself and talk a little bit about his plan for the first few weeks of the semester.
So as he said,
It doesn't.
oh, okay. As he said, my name is Joe Berthium, and it's pronounced birth like childbirth, Hume like perfume. So Berthium, and or you just call me Joe. So I'm excited to be here. I just moved here from California. I've only been on campus here for about a week or so. So I'm just still getting acclimated, still meeting people. So if you see me out on the sidewalk, walking around or something, stop by and introduce yourself and tell me your name and that you're with the SGA here. And, let me get to know you, your major, things like that. If you live on campus, I'm responsible for housing and residential life, and I'm also now responsible for the university center. So if you got ideas, thoughts you want to share, talk to me. I love talking to students. I'm here for you. You guys are the reasons that we are here as a university with that. One of the things I want to do over the next couple of weeks is I'm going to go on what I call a listening tour. Since I'm new, I can be totally objective and be a sounding board for you. You guys have thoughts. Some of you live on campus, some of you don't live on campus, but all of you, I think, use the university center at times. I want to hear from you, the students. What's working? What's not working? How can we improve? Tell me the good, tell me the bad, tell me whatever you want to share with it. Because I want to start making some differences and doing some strategic planning. So I'm going to set up times. I'm going to go to every residential community and I'm going to meet with students in those communities. I'm going to do it without any staff being present because I want you to be able to talk unfiltered and not have any influence from any staff members in particular. I'm also going to go to, for example, the housing staff. I'm going to go to the university center staff and I'm going to ask for their opinions and their thoughts while their supervisors are not present. And I want to hear the good, the bad, any thoughts that you have. I'm going to accumulate, and I'm not going to use it as a discussion where I'm going to discuss with you guys. I'm just going to go and listen, and I'm going to take notes. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to compile all the notes and everything in an objective manner that's confidential. So if you say something, it's not going to go back to somebody else to where you feel like you're going to get some backlash or anything. So when I share information with my team, we're going to use it for strategic planning as we look to the future and things like that and grow. And I certainly want student voice to be a part of our growth pattern in the future with that. So if you see the advertisements that go out and the email messages that go out for the community, for those of you that live on campus, take the time to encourage other students to come out and talk to me during those particular times. They're going to be in the early evenings, like between 5 and 7 o'clock or 7:30, something like that, because I want to not conflict with your class schedules and things like that as much as possible with that. And we'll have just a variety of different opportunities there. Of course, you're always welcome to stop by my office and talk to me or catch me on campus somewhere else. I want to eat on campus a lot, so you may see me down here in the dining areas and things, because I want to experience what you're experiencing so I can have a firsthand view at things. I'm currently living on campus. I'm living over at Liberty Landing in one of the apartments. And I'm doing that on a temporary basis while I look for a house, but equally important so I can see and experience what students are going through first as I transition to the campus here with that. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Joe. He's going to be wonderful through the interview process. He constantly talked about wanting to hear from students. Great experience. This is also his second time in Texas. He wanted to come back. He loves the state. He's worked in Texas previously at Texas Women's University and is very connected down here. And so we're very lucky to have him. Again, he's new in a week, so make sure we give him a little bit of time before we ask him some of those critical questions that you might ask me this evening. But he's here for you. He wants to hear your feedback. He wants to help. We are continually working on process improvement in all of our departments. And so it's important that Dr. Berthium get that opportunity to hear from you how we can continue to improve. All right. So semester's off to a good start. We went through housing selection. If all of you remember, how many of you are not freshmen, right? Sophomore, junior, senior? How many of you tried to sign up for housing last year? How many of us remember the sad software system crash? All right. So I say today, it was money well spent. The last time I spoke with you all, we talked about bumping up the capacity in our new system. No crashes in the software system. Things went smoothly. So the new software system's rocking and rolling. And we have made some changes that we talked with SGA about. We talked to some students about in terms of our nursing community, in terms of first, second year live-on requirement. So we did implement those. This is the second year where we fulfill our live on requirement for first and second year students, which does limit some of the space for juniors and seniors initial room selection. And so the one thing I want to share with you all is the same thing that I've said time and time again. If you want to live on campus, you will live on campus. If you don't have a bed, or a constituent of your team or in your college does not have an assignment and they are on the waiting list, you can tell them, I guarantee it, you will have a bed. Period. I've rented out floors of hotels before, had students temporarily stay there, and then we work them back onto campus. That is, unfortunately, where we are right now in terms of demand with housing and occupancy. It's not the most ideal situation, but I know that our team, myself, and all of you are being as patient as possible. And we will continue to serve each and every one of you at the highest level possible, which is my commitment that if you need a bed, you want a bed, you want to live on campus, we will make it happen. So I want everyone to know that if there's anxiety about being on the wait list, I get it. We work through it every year, and anyone who needs or wants a bed gets one. I joked last semester and I said, if it's Liberty Landing or nothing, it might be nothing, but I will get you a bed if you need a bed. You will live on campus if you want to live on campus, because I believe it's very important. That's why we have a freshman and sophomore live on requirement. So our students who are welcoming to campus are right there and in there. And I want juniors and seniors to live on campus. Joe, when I was talking to him about our housing crunch, said, we want our juniors and seniors on campus. And I said, absolutely. If I had enough beds to put you in the exact assignment that you wanted in the exact building, I would do it in a heartbeat. And as soon as we get some more housing developed, which we are continuing that conversation and moving forward, we will continue to advocate to get more beds to support you all, because I love and continue to love that you all want to work on, or you want to live on campus with us. I think it's a great service. I think we do a pretty gosh darn good job. There are some challenges, as there will be with any service, but I want you on campus with us. If you want to live on campus, you have my guarantee that I will find you a spot. Okay. And that's just really important. I have heard some anxiety from students. And so my goal at this exact moment is to quell that. If you are worried about having a bed, you will have one. Okay. I promise. Meaning I always make good on my promises. So it's good. I promise. Trust me in my word. I see some head nods. But that's important. I want us not to be anxious about where are we going to live. You will have a bed. It may not be the exact assignment you want, but I'm going to reiterate it. You will have a bed. If there is a student that you're talking to who's super worried about it, send him to Joe and I. In future, just Joe. No, just kidding. But really, we work together as a team. We will work with each student. We will make sure that we take care of our students. That is my priority, and that is my promise to all of you, that we will take care of you and you will have a bed. Okay? That was all I really wanted to say. And I know there's some questions, some feedback I want to hear. And so at this point, I'll just open up the floor to questions that you have. It could be about housing, it could be about the university center, it could be about the counseling center, it could be about anything under my purview. We would be happy. I'd be happy to answer those questions.
If y'all could say, Senator, your last name before you speak, that'd be great.
This is Senator Vargas. First off, I just want to thank you, Andy, just for always looking out for students and stuff. My question is more of like a hypothetical one. So more so because the housing assignments that they're working on building is going to take like quite a while, right? Like a few years, if I'm correct.
So really quickly, many of you are probably aware, since COVID, there's been a significant supply chain and labor shortage. Those are some of the biggest hindrances to our timeline.
And so the question that follows is just more so, as we grow in our population numbers, what happens if we get to the point where we can't fit, like we can't trickle in the students into housing because people are leaving? What if we just don't have enough space for that anymore?
Yeah, so I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm gonna remember we hired an expert.
So first thing I want to say and reiterate to you is I have a slogan or a model that I believe in, and I fully believe it from my heart, and that is I want to provide, and it's going to be the objective or goal of housing and residential life is a quality living experience that complements academic success. It's not just about providing that.
This disclaimer, our mics didn't cut out randomly, so.
Okay. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Okay. So as I was saying, we want to provide you with a quality living experience that complements academic success. You're going to school here as a student, and we want you to be very successful as a student, but you're also living here. We want you to have fun. We want you to enjoy your time while you're here. We want you to create memories while you're here so that 20 years from now or 30 years from now, when you're gray hairs like me and stuff, you can think back upon your college days and remember the time that you spent in the residence halls and on campus housing and in your student activities and events that you're going to, the SGA activities. Those are the memories that are going to last forever. When I think back, that's what I remember. And that's what I want to do for you, is to make sure that we work together to create those positive memories and things, and also build you up to where when you leave this campus, you can hit the ground running and be successful with whatever career you do for the future. But we're going to look high and low throughout this Tyler community for housing opportunities. If we start running tight on space, then we're going to look at alternative options for housing. So we can, as Andy was saying, that we can provide housing for any student that needs it. It may not be your first preference or where you want to be or the closest to the academic building that you want to be in, but we're going to try to get space and get you situated to where you can have that quality experience and really achieve the success both academically and through your living environment with that. I have had some experience in an overcrowding situation. One of the campuses that I worked at in the past was at a point where we were 450 people over capacity for housing. We found ways to provide housing for all of those students at that time, and it worked out, and it was a good experience for everybody. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes cooperation, but we can get there, and we will do it too. You're correct. It will take, if we get approval to build new residence halls, a new campus housing, it will take some time to you go through the approval processes and all the steps then to get the funding for it, and then to get the actual construction and the planning done and to open them. That'll take a little time, but it's the end result is going to be well worth it. And it takes leadership with you guys to have that vision and that support. It's not just about administrators doing it. We've got to have the support and cooperation from the student leadership as well with it to work together to make it happen for the future. You can make, through your actions this year, you can make a difference in the lives of the students that are going to be here 3 years, 4 years down the road, and 10, 15 years down the road, just through your leadership. So keep that in your mind as well.
Can I ask what some of those like ways that you were able to provide for those students? Because you were saying that you had some alternative means, and I was just kind of curious what that entailed.
Well, over my career, I've seen different campuses use different methods with it. As Andy mentioned, renting out hotel space and having students stay in a hotel on a temporary basis with that. One of the things that we would call master leasing apartment complexes off campus, if there's something available, whatnot. I've seen, I did not work with it, but I've heard of a university, and I think they were here in Texas, actually down on the coast, that actually rented out a cruise ship one time because they were in need of housing. There's all kinds of possibilities that exist. We just have to look for the possibilities of what's available to us in the Tyler community and within the resources of the campus. And we have to look for ways to find what I call win-win situations where it can be a win for our students and for our program. And we work towards the betterment of the university. planning for the future growth.
Thank you for that.
Go ahead, Senator Holman, and then we'll go to Senator Mattern.
Senator Holman, student body at large, Senator Juniors. I had someone mention to me that they did not see anything in the student handbook about maybe having a newborn child or maybe their young child living with them in the dorms. And I looked and I didn't see anything about that as well. So I'm not sure if maybe we could discuss that or if they are not allowed to live with their child on campus.
Yeah. So I have a lot of thoughts, right, about that. And so typically, I would encourage any student in a similar scenario to come talk with me so that we can navigate how to support that student. I will tell you that a residence life program is typically not no subtitles. All right. I think we're good now. So I'm gonna just kind of step back for just a quick minute. So one thing, right, is we don't at this time offer family housing. It's also probably not the environment that we would want an infant to be in, right? There's a lot going on. Just making sure this is still working. Okay. So there's a lot. And so I would want to talk with that student and make sure that I understand their needs and see how I can best assist. But at this time, we do not offer housing. If you wanted your younger sibling to come stay with you, they would be subject to the policies for guests. But you're bringing up a really good point about the future of housing and do we want to explore family housing? But if there's a particular student that you're talking with, please send them to me so I can talk with them, make sure they have the support of the university, their faculty, and everybody that they're going to be working with during that time. So I know that didn't exactly answer your question, but I more or less want to make sure that that student has everything they need and the support they need to be successful.
Senator Mattern. Okay, you can hear me. I had a friend move out at Victory this past semester in December, her and her 3 roommates. So it left a full 4-bedroom, 4-bath open, but we're charged with the $1,000 breaking the lease, which I guess that makes sense. But at the same time, if we need housing so bad, why are we still having a cancellation fee?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So when you book your apartment, that means that it is your apartment for the year. So we don't have leases, they're contracts, they're a little bit different. Same feel, but essentially at the end of the day, they held a space from somebody. And in the spring, but we count on that. We need that revenue. One of the things that I was going to mention toward the end is that we're looking at doing another large project in Liberty Landing. And to fund that and to forecast what's going to be in our budget, we have to be able to count on students being here when they sign that contract. And so that is essentially one of the ways that students don't leave mid-semester.
I have heard of people having that waived though.
Yeah, and that is on an individual basis, given their circumstances. They're welcome to come talk with me about it, because that's typically if somebody wants to challenge the cancellation fee, and there are valid reasons for doing so, typically it's because they leave the institution or they're not enrolled in class. But there are some situations that I would be willing to talk with students about in terms of that.
Senator Minnick, this may not be possible, but it's just a suggestion. Have y'all considered forming some kind of partnership with like the Foundry Apartments, or I think is it Deerbrook, or Because I know there's a lot of safety concerns with that apartment complex. So if they were able to partner up with UT Tyler for funding as well, not only could it solve that housing issue, but it could also solve the safety issue because Foundry is so close in proximity
Mhm.
to UT Tyler.
So okay, how many of you have done that for more than 1 year? How hard was it to find an apartment off campus? Pretty hard. So when we approach, we could use the Foundry as an example.
Yeah.
If I approach them and they're like, no, Andy, we're sitting at 100% occupancy. I don't need your partnership.
Yeah.
We're kind of seeing that in the community right now, right? And that's why I will tell you, I will find a place for a bed, is because it is also hard to find off-campus housing right now and off-campus affordable housing.
Yeah.
Right? When you look at our housing rates that have not been raised in a long time and are less than what my rates were when I was in college a few years ago, I will tell you, we provide a tremendous value compared to any other school in the system. I would argue that you couldn't find lower housing rates in the state than what we have right now. And so that was a side note to the occupancy is so high at these apartment complexes, they're not interested in partnering
Really?
because the demand is so high. And so that's the issue or challenge that we've faced when we talk with off-campus apartment complexes.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I will also just be very transparent with you. Lately, when we've attempted those apartment complexes know they've got us and they want an outrageous amount for that apartment, probably 3 or 4 times what anyone else is paying.
Yeah.
And not that we wouldn't do that if we had to. We've gone to hotels because they have been flexible, and we have over the last few years had no challenge transitioning students back to campus.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to share with you the demand is so high in the community
Yeah.
that is why I stood in front of you and said, we will make sure you have a bed, because that's very important and it's not easy to come by. And I've seen some of the prices that folks are advertising for 2-bedroom apartments in Tyler right now.
In a similar vein, would it be possible to talk to an apartment complex about even just giving a discount for UT Tyler? Like, there's plenty of businesses who are willing to give discounts for, UT Tyler students, Moss or whatever, different coffee
Sure.
shops. So kind of in a similar vein, if they're willing to come there.
I would always be willing to engage in that conversation with
Yeah.
them. I think that the challenge is going to be they may not be interested right now because the demand is high.
Yeah, for sure.
I think in a normal market, that would be a very workable solution
And
potentially.
bring them more profit if they need it.
Yeah.
So many people need housing.
So it's a great idea. I just think the market for housing right now in East Texas, specifically Tyler, is going to make it hard for anyone to want to give us a discount.
Okay.
But I'm not saying we couldn't do it. We could definitely, we can always try and talk with them, because maybe when occupancy goes, maybe they get 10% occupancy free. They might say, I would love some UT Tyler students here. And we can plant that seed for them in the future to think about us.
Yeah.
So absolutely a good idea.
Vice President Bennett. So I'm gonna ask about kind of the nitty gritty part of it all. So UT Tyler has its own strategic plan, and I understand housing has its own strategic plan as well. I know within the UT Tyler wider one, they're wanting to grow by 50% or 5,000 students. And so do y'all, kind of a 2-part question here, do y'all follow that metric to meet that demand in y'all's own strategic plan, or do y'all follow your own? And if so, what kind of is that metric to follow?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I would say, in terms of housing, do we have a strategic plan? Yes, it's an operational strategic plan. Everything that housing does follows the university's strategic plans and goals. So when we talk about growing to 15,000 by 2027, that comes in a lot of different ways. It can come from online students. It can come from graduate students. It can come from transfer students. It can come from first-year students, traditional students, right? It just, when we look at that, I'm going to tell you that's not 5,000 first-year students. It's not 5,000 residential students. So what we do is we work with our partners in enrollment management who are responsible for making the projections. And as we create our next housing plan in conjunction with our university partners, we look at those metrics. And so if you ask me how many beds I needed last fall, it's more this fall. And so what we're hoping to do is get ahead of that with our first iteration of housing, right? I think I told you all last semester, I need 700 beds pretty soon to help us just cover the demand. I'm not even talking about the freshman and sophomore live-on requirement. If we had 700 beds more, we could accommodate that. We don't know where we'll land, right? There's a lot that happens between now and a residence hall opening. But I would say in our plan and in conjunction with enrollment management and the university plan, that's where we're looking at is, you know, the development of 500 to 700 beds as quickly as reasonably possible to get us to where we're going. But we don't work in isolation. So we even, you know, when we think about it in the summer and we're looking at enrollment, we make sure we have beds. We also want to make sure that we have classes for the students, right? There's all of those things when you grow, every little piece plays a part in how you reach that enrollment goal of 15,000. And so that's what we do. Over the summer, we were talking about how many more students are going to be admitted. How many of them do we have space for in housing? And do we have classes for them? And sometimes admissions may stop admitting because we've reached the capacity that we can have for the year. So we have to think about all of those pieces, and housing is one of those pieces that's going to support the overall growth of the institution. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
One of the things for you to keep in mind here, it's very important. If we just went through the room selection process, and especially for those of you that are juniors and seniors, if you have not, in your intention to be on campus for housing, if you have not already applied or signed up for housing, please log on and get yourself on the waiting list, okay? Because we need to know the numbers of who's interested. If we don't know you're interested in housing, it's gonna be hard for us to plan appropriately for the numbers. We need to know what our demand really and truly is, and it's accurate. So it's important that there's a lot of students I know right now that have said, I'm interested in housing, but everything's full right now. So they haven't signed on to the waiting list. We need your name on that waiting list if you're interested. If you're not sure, you're wavering, I'm thinking about going off campus, which is fine. That's your choice as a junior or senior. Or you might come back on campus if space comes available. Sign up on campus. You can always cancel up until I think it's April 1st or May 1st, one of those two. But
deadline. Since Joe wasn't here last summer, I will be very transparent, and Joe will talk with the operations team and get an answer to our contractual date where you can cancel with no penalty. We went up to June 1st last year. We want you on that wait list if you're going to live on campus or want to live on campus. So Joe is very right. If no one signs up for the wait list and we think we're golden, and then we get 200 people in June who sign up and say we want housing, we lost a little bit of time in assessing the demand and finding that apartment complex or finding that hotel or making those agreements. So I will tell you, we will get back to you on a specific date. I don't believe we charged any. I actually think we even went into July 1. I'll be honest with you. I think we hit everyone up on the wait list and said, hey, y'all, if you're going to cancel, please do it by this day so you avoid that cancellation fee. Because we have to plan for you. And if we engage in a contract with a hotel and we guarantee 100 students for the first month, and then only 40 students need it, does anyone want to ballpark how much money I'm going to eat? About $120,000. Right. And so that's why Dr. Berthium is so right. We need to know, because we'll make appropriate plans. I'll eat that money because I believe it's that important, but I eat money if I didn't have to, right? Because that cuts into that money that we then dump back into the residence halls each summer. So this summer, don't quote me, I told Landry this, we're probably going to put about $3 million into Liberty Landing For the record, that's $5.5 million over the last 2 summers. That's why I said, don't quote me, but then I'm quoted up there. But that's not really a secret, but that's what we're an auxiliary service, which means we get no money from the university. Housing is an auxiliary. We bring in what we bring, which means we have to make improvements based on that funding. You know, all of the things that we do in housing come from that. We're also nonprofit, right? So we're not making money to pad any pockets. We're really here to put the money back into it, make sure our facilities are the best that we can, and make sure that everything looks as best as possible. And so when I talk about $100,000 that I could eat, if students are there, I'll eat it all day because I want you where we need you to be. And that's where the demand comes from. Would the housing application fee be removed in that case if they just want the number? So likely not. That's a good question. We don't want just the numbers. That the prepayment, which if you're not a freshman, likely you've already made that deposit or that prepayment. It's really, that's your commitment to staying on housing. Will I give it back to you? Yes. If you cancel by the date we give Landry, we're going to go back and make sure that we have the established date, you'll get that money back. So I'm not going to keep your application fee if I can't get you in housing and if you cancel by the appropriate date, and we'll get that date to you. Try this.
Senator O, can you hear me? Okay, yes. So my question was about like athletes not being able to room with non-athletes, specifically for Liberty Landing. That was something that came up this semester, trying to sign up for next semester, and I was wondering if there's an exception made whatsoever, and also just because like that wasn't something that was communicated well enough for students to be aware that that was something that couldn't happen. If that makes sense.
All right, team. What I was sharing before my mic went out is if someone has a concern about those specific things, or there's a specific pocket of students, like student athletes, who want to know more about that, there's a lot of influences on that one. And so that is more of a, let's talk about it, figure out what you're looking for, and we'll go from there.
Senator Ocampo. Okay, Senator Ocampo. I don't know who can answer this question, but essentially, what is the whole purpose of having these communities in housing? Like, what is the end goal for that? I have other follow-up questions. Sorry, but yeah.
No, that's a really good one. So let's use nursing as an example, because I believe nursing came up last time. Nursing students, if you're not a nursing student, may not know year-round housing, right? Or year-round school. They go fall, spring, summer. How many of you are nursing students? Am I accurately describing your life? Okay. So how many of you have lived on campus in the last 2 years as a nursing student? Give me your number one frustration. Summer housing. What about it? Signing up for it. What else? Finding it. On campus? Okay. Okay. Some of you may not be wanting to tell me the full frustrations. I'll tell you because I've heard it. When you're year round in nursing, That means that housing has to inconvenience you to transition each and every time. And I agreed every time a student said, I cannot move, I have a final Wednesday. Or my clinicals, how am I supposed to move out? I've got clinicals. These are all valid things. And it was hurting both sides of the aisle. Our students were suffering because I needed you to move, because if you didn't move, 6 other people who are waiting to transition have to wait. And it creates a wider challenge, right? We clean rooms, we move students, we clean rooms, we fix rooms, we do a rotation over the summer. With a year-round housing contract for nursing, it stops us from having to frustrate you. You don't have to worry about when summer transition starts, when spring transition starts, when fall transition starts, because you don't have to do that because you're in year-round housing. So that's why the nursing community in particular, you are in the only program that I'm aware of, and there could be more, that go year-round. And we have a lot of nursing students who live on campus with us. Something like 300 of our nursing students live with us on campus or nursing. So part of the reason is to make sure that we are not harming your ability to be successful over the summer, transitioning to the fall, or not creating that conflict, because that's not what we want. Because you're absolutely right. Every one of the nursing students who said now is a terrible time for you to ask me to move was right. So this will stop that. There's 3 other communities that we have on campus that are called living learning communities. We have a pre-nursing one, we have an honors one, and we have a first generation one. Each one of those communities is geared towards building stronger connections to students, campus, faculty, and academics. We can get into living learning communities a lot more. So that's just a basic why we have those communities. And some have different purposes. The nursing community in Victory is so that we stop creating frustration for you during those transitions. Because that was a real thing. All right, somebody's shaking their head. And so we really had to dig deep to find ways to do that so that you do not have to worry during clinicals, finals. And I know y'all have a lot. I love me a nursing student because I know y'all go through a lot, right? So we want to support you and make sure that we do everything we can for you. So that was a long answer, and you said you had some follow-ups.
So I know that the main issue is like housing. So have y'all tried to expand on the other campuses? Because I know that there's a lot of students who are planning to leave housing now because they have to commute to these areas. And right now they're like booking Airbnbs. And luckily these people who they're renting them from like give them discounts, like a lot of discounts. And then so like what's the idea with that? Like, is it just implementing money into the Tyler campus for housing, or because we could
That's a great question. So there's a lot to that answer, and I'm going to try and be as succinct as possible. We have a Houston Engineering Center. We have a campus at Longview. We have a campus at Palestine, and we have a Health Science Center here in Tyler. And then we have this campus. So what we really have to look at is there a place for development? Is there enough demand for each of those locations? And then we can start assessing that, right? And so one of the things that some of you may not know is the nursing program is exploding. Lots of people. It's a great program. It's a wonderful problem to have. But that means that we have to use all of our resources for nursing students in terms of Longview, Palestine, and here, right? And so as those develop, that is definitely a conversation that we're going to be having in terms of the other campuses that we have within UT Tyler and making sure that we're fitting your needs. Because I have had conversations with the nursing leadership as they've expressed some challenges that students have communicated to them. So we'll continue to work on that. I don't know that we'll do a housing development right away, but there's no reason that wouldn't be something that we would consider as we continue to see how great the nursing program continues to do, that might be an opportunity. Yeah. No, this is perfect.
So, I had a professor like express this when the topic about housing, because there's a lot of Tyler people going over there. So, she mentioned a point that I was like, oh, that's a really good point. But basically, you know how we're expanding on the nursing building? So expanding on that means we plan on admitting more students into the nursing program. But if we're already struggling with housing here, how is that gonna affect like housing even more? Like, we're planning to admit more people than we're already capable of admitting.
So, and that goes back to we all have to, meaning myself, Dr. Berthume, Dr. Haas, Dr. Chilton, nursing. We all have to work together as those things are coming up as we're growing and expanding, right? And so I will continue the conversations with friends in nursing. Look at solutions. We are definitely looking that way. So I have heard some of that feedback. And I do believe in the future, we will need to figure some of that out for all of our campuses. So, and we also think about that also with the medical school starting, right? There's a lot of different, I'm giving you all a little piece of my life. There's a lot of competing interests, right? And we have to work on how do we support all of them in the best way possible, given those resources. And so I would encourage you, if you have students who have challenges, to come talk with me. My door is always open for those of you who are new to this room. A student can walk right into the Dean of Students office. And if my door is open, you're welcome to walk right in. And I want students to know that that's really important because housing is important. That's a piece of like, what do we talk? Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Right. That's important. So if we have a student who has concerns, I need to know so that I can talk with them, especially those. We'll look at systematic things, but right now I want to make sure that we're addressing individual concerns as well so that students feel like and know that they have the support of the university. Thank you.
If I can experiment with the mic really quickly. Zoom, can y'all hear me? Awesome.
Now, I believe with those, only one of them can work.
At a time, you'll have to wait for the shot. That's all right. Zoom, can you hear me? Okay, cool. I'm seeing myself talk. Can you hear me on this one? I think everybody can hear me on this one.
Okay, so if you ask any nursing student, the journey is not linear. So with the 1-year contract for students who, let's say they just like me, I'm taking an extra semester. When I'm signing up for housing, I have no choice but to sign up for that 1-year contract. How do I go in and cancel the 3 semesters that I'm not staying?
That's a great question. That was a question that. Hello.
As Andy said, that's a great question. So when you sign that year-long contract there with the nursing program, if you at some point in time, for whatever reason, you then are no longer a student with that, all you have to do is log on to the housing website or portals, and you would just fill out the contract appeal form or cancellation form and just submit that. And if you're not a student, you're going to be out, no questions asked. You're not going to get charged a fee or anything like that, as long as you're not a student. Yeah. And that could be for anything, graduation, withdrawing from the university, whatever the reason is. If you're not a student, you don't get charged.
I'm also I'm a PhD student. My journey is not linear either. So I understand what you're saying. What else do we have, team? Are people All right, that's okay, as long as you're not chuckling at me. Landry's fine.
You don't want to just pass one mic, or do you want to turn it off, turn it on?
I'm not gonna lie, turning it on and off is kind of annoying.
Just pass one.
My bush passing around.
I'll pass.
I don't mind doing anything.
Senator Buchanan, I'm not a nursing student, but I just had a question about nursing. So I know that y'all have the 1-year contract, which I do think is great for the fact of not having to transition every semester and worry about all that, because there's a lot going on. But what about students who maybe want to live with other friends that they've built like through pre-nurse, or like in their time that they're pre-nursing, not in the nursing program yet, and they want to live with them all 4 years, but they can't because they're not nursing students? Is there a way y'all could have an option to say, I want to do the 1-year contract, or I want to go semester by semester, and I'm going to understand, I face the facts of I have to move every time that I'm finishing the spring semester, and it's a hassle, but I'd rather be with people I want to be with.
Great question. Can I just be real with y'all for a minute? So I agree with what you're saying. Practically speaking, if we go back to, if let's say you're a nursing student and you don't want to live in nursing, there is going to come a time where we need you to do something, and it's going to come at a bad time for you. Right. And I'm going to tell you, if you talk with a nursing student who lived in housing, they were not happy with me. Is that fair? Not completely happy. And I own it. It was not graceful. It was as Dr. Berthium says, we want win-wins. It was probably a lose-lose situation, and we need to avoid that, because I cannot jeopardize your academic standing and your ability to focus. And that, I'm not just saying that's for nursing students. If someone else went on a year-round contract, we would have to do that. And I also will tell you, that's pretty standard of year-round academic programs, that housing will offer that year-round, because it really puts you in a position to not have to be inconvenienced. It just happened to always be the worst time. Perhaps that may be a lot of the time. I don't know, but you all just had some needs, and I don't want to frustrate you. I don't want to put you in that position. If you're asking me, can a non-nursing student live with nursing students? Is that what you're saying?
I was just saying, can a nursing student? I know there's been some struggles with people sign up.
Yeah, and that I do see that creating frustration and challenges for the student. If there is a particular student who wishes to speak more about that, I am all ears to talk about individual scenarios. But it would not be ideal. I think it would ultimately be one of those things where we would have to learn and be like, yep, that was not the way we wanted it to be. So.
Yeah, so I can't speak from personal experience. I am a nursing student. Oh, also Senator McCain. But I do know that there were level 3 nursing students who were like, I have a huge final, but I'm also having to move out on the same day. So I know that will be very helpful, especially for people who start in the summer and in the summer, because they'll have to be move in, move out, move in. So that I know that's going to be very helpful in the long run, I'm sure. But I just wanted to ask, and I probably know the answer to this, but if I had done the housing, but I'm living off campus next semester. So if I were to sign the nursing contract, could I make a roommate group as long as it was only nursing students?
Absolutely.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. I wasn't entirely sure how that worked. All right, thank you.
You want to talk about
No, I'm not making that. No. Anybody have any other questions?
Well, I first of all want to thank you all for the opportunity to come talk to you. I was telling Landry before, I've been at several universities, and this group is fantastic. You ask questions well. You ask good questions. And so it's always a pleasure to come to SGA and talk with you. Even if we might have some tough topics to talk about, we always have a professional and great conversation about it. And so I just wanted to share with you that I'm very thankful for this group and the way that you approach advocacy for students. So thank you.
I would also like to thank you for allowing me to come and meet you today. I have always been and always will be a strong advocate for SGA and for student leadership across the campus. Again, I'm going to be going on the listening tour over the next few weeks. If you see the advertisements for it, the date and times, just feel free to come, bring your friends and fellow students out because I want to hear from you. I love the engagement that we had today, the questions you have, the ideas and thoughts that you have. That's what I want to hear because I want to look at what if possibilities. There's probably things you've thought about that we haven't thought about. So let's get them out in the open and then I can take them into consideration with our teams as we move forward with planning. I wish you the best of success. If there's anything I can do to be of help to you, whether it be residential or university center or just as a student or life in general, feel free to stop me if you see me out about the campus or come by the office. All right.
All right. Thank you both for coming. And hope that was very informative. We will go ahead and move along as fast as we can to officer reports. All right. So this past week, actually yesterday, I had the chance to go up to the Health Science Center and meet with some of the vice chancellors of UT System. It was a healthcare focused student group. So I was kind of the oddball out being a history major. But I think it was a very productive meeting. Some of the discussions included questions about the biotech program, dorms for all of campuses, distance campuses included, to help support our healthcare programs, micro-credentialing, of course, and a few other topics. So I think it was a very fruitful conversation. If any of you all got to see the groundbreaking for the new med school, that was pretty exciting. They had a bunch of heavy hitters out there, including the chancellor himself and the governor. So that was a pretty cool experience. And this next week, we're going to be doing some senator training, just so that way we can get everybody on the same page. And of course, we're going to be continuing to work more on the upcoming events that are going to be happening, and Robert will be talking about here shortly. So yeah. All right, I'll pass it off to Vice President Bennett.
So I've been working closely with Landry, Beverly, and the rest of events committee to make sure that we have events coming up. And don't worry, y'all, I'll be getting to it. Want to build a suspense. But we're getting stuff ready. We're getting the final, I hope the final ruffles and midnight breakfast figured out. Looking at you, Landry. We got to figure it out. Yeah, it's pretty much been my week.
Hello, everyone. I am trying to finalize the headshots for the Instagram. So if you have not sent it to me, please, please, please do. That goes for our Zoom attendees and distance campuses and the judicial board as well. So if you really just don't have a picture, you can stay after and I'll take one for you. And I just need you to message me why you are in SGA, please.
Hello. I don't like listening to myself, but it'll be fine. Okay, so this past week, I've really just been working on the budget presentation that I'm going to be doing later today. And then I really want to emphasize on like attending those events that we fund through SGAC. And now that my classes are on like online and I don't really have anything to do during the day, I'm going to put that on myself to go because I go to the events anyways. So I'm excited for that. And then just like Robert said, just trying to get everything ahead so we know what to get for all those events and stuff down the line. So yeah.
Steph Hughes.
I've been a little sick the past week, so I've mainly been focusing on recovering. But other than that, I've been working on some upcoming projects for Roles Committee.
And we'll go ahead and move to committee reports.
So we met today and I will be saving the rest for new business.
We have not met yet. And it's looking, actually, our official meeting time is going to be Mondays at 3:30 in our downstairs SGA office. So if you want to join, go ahead.
So SGAC met last week to discuss the changes for the budget for this semester. Like I said, I'll show you later. I also want to go over the what we spent the money on, so you guys aren't just in the dark. So that would be exciting too. We haven't gotten any responses for this week, so possibly not meeting this week. I'll let you guys know, so to keep your eyes peeled. And then if you guys are interested in joining the SGAC, it's still on Wednesdays at 4, scheduled 4 to 5, but usually it's like 15 minutes or so long. So if you guys are interested, let me know.
We met yesterday at 1 p.m. in the student engagement conference room. And we talked about sort of the timeline for the projects we're working on this semester. And it's our first meeting this semester. So
ESC.
So we had our first meeting earlier today, just discussed some ideas. We think we're going to do the Earth Day thing again. So we're planning that out, making it bigger. So yeah.
Awesome. Love to hear ESC events. All right. GSA has not met yet. Student body at large. We'll go ahead and move to student voice reports. We'll start with the freshman class. All right. Senator O.
Yeah, so freshmen are pretty much excited to be back, and I think most people have a hang of this semester more than they did last semester, so that's pretty good. And most people are just really excited for homecoming and just having that this spring. So
Okay, sophomore student body at large. There you are.
Apart from the complaints about housing, overall, I've also seen in our general assemblies, complaints about tickets. I'm also on the ticket appeal committee. A lot of people don't know that if you have a car, you need a parking permit, regardless if you stay on campus housing or whatever, you need a parking permit. That is the majority why we get tickets that come across our little desk, is people parking on campus and they're not, they don't have a parking permit, or they're not parking in the correct areas. If you live at Liberty Landing, you're not allowed to park on campus. Like if you live at Liberty Landing, you're not allowed to park at the HBC, or you can get ticketed. A lot of people don't know that. The only people who are actually allowed to not, the only people allowed to drive to class is people who live at Victory Village because of their permits. Like people who live at U Pines, Patriot Village, their parking permits is designed so they can walk to class. So if they park on campus, they get a ticket. A lot of people don't know that, and so it's been deny of a picket of ticket appeals because everyone is claiming they didn't know that. So we're trying to educate more people and put the word out that is the rules and the policy, and reiterate those things. That's mainly what I've been working on.
To comment on the parking passes, I don't like hear my voice. There's actually a new parking, it's a new thing, because parking right now is done through PD. It's fixing to be their own thing. So tickets are supposed to go down. I don't know if that makes anybody feel better or not, but that's what we've been told.
Okay. Kind of nice to not be ticketed as much, so I guess that'll be cool. All right, junior student body at large.
Can you hear me? Okay. So everyone's like just getting settled in so far. They're excited that they have one more spring semester and then it's their senior year. And for like most pre-med juniors, they're getting ready to take the MCAT if they haven't done so already. And a couple of people have told me they want more water dispensers in the RB and RBS building. But that's basically it.
I think we texted Director Krause about that facility, so I think he's looking into that as we speak. All right.
Hey, Keena, it's your turn.
Senior student body at large.
I think the only thing that I've heard and that's coming up is graduation applications, which I think are due March 1st. Maybe.
Beginning of March. I know.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's the only thing that I've heard.
Right. Graduate student body at large.
Graduate student body at large. Oh. I didn't know you were a graduate student.
Yeah.
All right, nothing to report. We'll go ahead and move along to old business. Does anybody have anything to bring up for old business? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move along to new business. Instead of doing the, actually, we'll go ahead and do senator nominations first. All right, first up, Mr. David Templeton. Yeah, if you don't mind. All right, we just have like a couple minutes just to introduce
Hello.
yourself. Yeah, it's good to go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Patrick Sembleton. My first name is David, but it's a long story I'd love to tell you. It's actually not that long. My dad's name is David, and his dad's name is David, and his dad's name is David, and then a couple more times. I'm a major in kinesiology over in health sciences. I'm hoping to be a senator for the health sciences, exercise science committee. Heard about this actually last semester, but I just didn't. I was busy. You know how it goes. 1 week it's, oh, I'm gonna go sign up, and then you just never do it. So I'm happy to be here. I'm seeing a bunch of very friendly faces. I'm looking forward to getting to meet all of you. And I like long walks on the beach, smooth jazz, and I'm single. So any questions, anything y'all want to know about me? Yes. I think it's awesome. She said, why do I want to be an SGA? I think government's really cool. I think getting involved in my college as much as I can is the best way to enhance my experience. Everything. There was a chair open for Patriot Village, but I'm more passionate about health sciences, obviously. So, lady in the front, yes, ma'am. Congratulations, everybody run ahead.
And I know that like that college isn't that involved. What are you kind of like hoping to like see out of kinesiology?
So for those in the Zoom meeting, she asked what I'm hoping to see or accomplish for the health kinesiology region of the school. Yeah, I agree. It's like, it seems like it's like tucked away in the back part of the gym. You're like, yeah, we also have that, just letting you know, and like this sea of nursing students. Honestly, I don't have a straight answer because there's just a lot. I feel like there could be more, it could be more well known, you know, especially on the website. There's no one ever talking about it. I mean, there's like, yeah, we have kinesiology, I guess. We have a couple of teachers. Yeah, I just anything. I would love to have a discussion with you about it. Are you happy with your bachelor's in kinesiology?
I'm actually ditching it for business. So.
You know, it's so funny. I was thinking the same thing. The whole first semester, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this. So, what do you major in? You major in business? Okay. What, like just business or like management? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Yes.
What's your favorite beach to go walking on?
That's a great question. I don't know, man. I would say Carolina Beach is really very pretty.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? All right, I'm looking forward to meeting every one of you. Thank you for your time.
Robert, if you could walk him out to the hall where we discussed. All right. Does anybody have any comments at all? Or laughter? Senator Vargas.
I'm gonna just say this now. I think he'd be a great addition because I'm not gonna lie, I love his sense of humor, and he seems like he would be bringing some great energy.
Well, I hope you wouldn't lie. Treasurer Luna.
So I think we can all say that he's probably not that serious, but I think it could be good. Maybe SGA can like help him, you know, align, if that makes any sense.
Senator McCain.
Yes, I do agree that he did seem not as serious, but it was interesting that he did have an idea about like how case is not really seen on the website and stuff like that. So like he definitely does seem to have ideas and things. I think he just needs probably a better outlet in which to express them.
Senator Minnick.
He seems a little liable to not stick with kinesiology. So a part of me is like, well, maybe keep some other options open, not necessarily for him not to be an SGA, but just maybe a different position. Because he's passionate about it, he says, but he also was thinking about changing it. So maybe that's just a foot and mouth kind of thing. But he seems like in general, he would be maybe even being able to be a voice for kinesiology. Maybe he'll become more passionate about it as well.
First.
I think with them changing the nursing school to where it's separating, the kinesiology and health in general have been very underrepresented. So I think just in general, it's a good idea to have at least someone in that.
Don't we have like new nominations coming up in the spring anyway? So if he were to change his major, it would be elections. It would be a whole new roster of people anyways, right? Okay.
Senator McNamara. Anyways, with health science, I had a friend graduate from health sciences, and they do have a lot of like, she worked there. They had a lot of like internal issues, and we don't have that representation because it was connected. When I first got here, it was like nursing and health sciences, right? I didn't know anything about health sciences. I didn't even know that was a thing. So to have representation is really important, I feel like.
I just wanted to say that like I know him personally. I don't know him personally. We just have classes together, and he probably won't change his major. I mean, he's pretty serious about it. I guess he's just like, he didn't say it right. Like he's just more about like how hard it is and like the workload and stuff like that. But I doubt he'll change. So if that's something that y'all are, I don't know.
Any other comments? Oh, Senator Vargas.
Just to touch on some of like the little bit about he doesn't seem too serious. I mean, a lot of us, there's a good portion of us who act exactly like that, but we still do pretty well what we do. So.
Any other comments? Motion to vote, seconded by Senator Vargas. All in favor of nominating David Templeton or confirming David Templeton to the School of Health Professions senator seat, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji. All opposed, please raise your hand or do a heartbreak emoji. Any abstentions? All right. Justin, can you go get Robert? That is approved. All right. Next up, we have this. Okay, how do I pronounce your first name? It's Elena, right? Okay, Elena, last name? Gonzalez. Awesome. She's being nominated to the College of Arts and Sciences seat.
Hello, my name is Elena Gonzalez, and I'm interested in representing the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm a junior this semester, and I'm an English major. Woo! Minoring in Spanish and writing with technology, so I spend a lot of time in the CAS building. I really like to be involved on campus, more so since becoming a freshman, I've been trying to increase my involvement. So now I'm part of the Presidential Fellows cohort. I'm in honors and I work in academic success as well as an editor for the Talon. Let's see. I really like the community of CAS, even between more humanities and more science. And I would love to see them connect more with each other, connect with faculty and with the university at large. And I hope that I can be a good representation for them and a good asset to y'all.
Any questions?
Yes.
Senator Minnick, what are you hoping to do with your English degree? I'm an English major as well, so it's nice to see another person.
Great question. So there's a lot of avenues right now that I'm considering. I'm trying to get a lot of experience during undergrad in order to kind of figure out what I want to do. Right now, I'm in the process of applying for the Wrangell Summer Enrichment Program where I'll get some experience in foreign policy. And if I do end up doing that, I would like to get into the graduate program and go into the foreign service in communications, PR, media, something of that realm. If not that avenue, I would probably choose something in media and communications because I do also really enjoy that. And I would probably be on more of the writing side of it. But, you know, there's a lot of options. So I'm open to a lot of different things.
Why SGA?
So I didn't actually know much about SGA until recently. And after looking into it, I've grown to really appreciate how y'all represent the student body and kind of provide that connection between students and faculty, staff, even bigger names like the president. And I think it's really cool what y'all do. I would like to be part of it and kind of just help further the student body as a whole.
So you're involved in a lot of things on campus. Awesome. That's amazing. So how do you plan on delegating your time so that you are successful in SGA?
That's a great question. I tend to schedule my days pretty carefully and I do stay pretty busy, but I block out my time so that I have time for homework and all of my different responsibilities. So far this semester and the previous semester, I've had about the same workload and I've been able to balance it. And so usually I just spend a lot of time planning, spend a lot of time scheduling, and then really stick to that plan so that I don't procrastinate my work and have to make up for it later and can stay on top of all of my different responsibilities.
Any other questions? Any questions on Zoom? All right. Seeing none. Robert, would you mind escorting Elena out to the hallway, please? I need Jeopardy theme music. For mic passing and senator nominations, I need Jeopardy theme music. All right, any comments? Senator Vargas and Secretary Dix.
So I think that should be a great addition solely for the fact of, aside from being uber involved in multiple different things, she is also a college peer partner. And with that, she does a lot of outreach to the College of Arts and Sciences. So I feel like that would give a lot of insight as to what's going on in that college.
I also think she'd be a great addition just because got to look out for my College of Arts and Sciences homies.
So I was kind of gonna say the same. So I'm also an English major and we have the same minor. So I've had a couple classes with her and she's just like a really great classmate and a really great peer. And I think she'll do great things for representing the college.
She mentioned she was the editor for the Patriot Talent. So, and I don't think it'd be like a bad thing, but I think also making sure that that's kind of like separated sometimes if that's possible. But I don't know.
Senator McCain.
I'll say I'm also an honor, so I've had her in some of my classes and she is really great student. She's also very sweet and kind, and I think she'd be a great addition to SGA.
Senator Manning, I'm the other cast senator and I do biochemistry. So I get the science side of it. And so I feel like the Englishes and like the other side of that, like STEM doesn't get represented as well or not as much. So it'd be good to have that representation. I feel like she would be a very great addition to SGA.
Any other comments? Motion by Senator Mattern, seconded by Senator Vargas. All in favor, actually. Motion to vote on nominating Elena Gonzalez to the senator seat for College of Arts and Sciences. Seconded. Okay, yeah. All in favor, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji. All opposed, please raise your hand or do a heartbreak emoji. Any abstentions? All right, seeing none. Valerie, can you go and get Robert and tell him to come in? All right, next up, a familiar face to some of you, Al Anderson for the College of Education and Psychology. Al, if you wouldn't mind giving just a few comments about yourself, what program you're in. I should have done this for the rest of you. What program you're in, what year you are, anywhere else you're involved on campus.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Al Anderson. I am a senior, but I switched my major when I was a junior, so I'll be here to 2025. I'm in Greek life, so I know some things that's happening, so I don't have much to do anymore, but go to school, go to class, go home and go to sleep daily until something's come up. I am a part of the education psychology school, and I this is my third semester, I believe. Yeah. The reason I want to be part of SGA is because me and Robert talked a lot in like the last 2 days, something like that. And since I love planning things, and I did that with Delta Sig, but some things happened with that, so I couldn't do it anymore. So all my planning went to sleep mode, honestly. So now I'm ready to wake that up again and get active, because I miss being active on campus. I miss being seen. I just miss being all around campus. Easy.
Any questions? Any questions on Zoom? All right. Robert, do you mind escorting Al out to the hallway? I'm not going to do that. Any comments? Treasurer Luna.
Okay, I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy, but this one's good. I know he didn't really explain himself that well, but I think Al is very insightful. He has been very involved on campus, and I think he'd be a great addition for SGA.
Senator Waller.
I know him in a leadership capacity. He was president of Delta Sig when I was president of DG, and he worked together well. He had lots of new ideas, contributed a lot to his organization. So I know that he'll be a great leader in SGA, just to attest to that.
Any other comments? All right. I entertain a motion to nominate and confirm Al Anderson for Senator of the College of Education and Psychology. All in favor of approving and confirming Al Anderson to the College of Education and Psychology Senate seat, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji. All opposed, please raise your hand or do a crying face emoji. Any abstentions? Valerie, would you mind going and grabbing Robert and Al? All right, awesome. All right, last but certainly not least, a familiar face to you all, I'm sure, maybe not to some of you, but Mrs. Shelby Kipp She is being nominated to the Senate seat, the last Senate seat now for the School of Health Professions. She was currently, well, she's not currently, she resigned. She was on our J board, but now that the position is open and that the schedule works, she saw interest in joining SGA.
Hey guys, my name is Shelby Kipp. If y'all do not know who I am, I was a senator for the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. That was what I was projected to do for this school year. I had a major change, and then I was on the Panhellenic exec board, which met at the same time as the Thursday meeting time that y'all had last semester. So I ended up not able to be on the Senate or in the Senate. But I'm back now. I'm a healthcare management major, which is actually a BAAS, and it's in a completely online degree, which I don't know of anybody else who's undergrad completely online here, which I think is really cool. But basically my major gets basically no representation. I don't know anybody else who's in my major, so I think this is a really cool experience and opportunity for me to kind of come on board and maybe, you know, send out announcements in my Canvas classes, things like that, ask if there's any concerns for anybody they want to get out, because otherwise they might not have that experience if they are online and they're, you know, across the state or wherever else they might be doing their own jobs, not able to come to these meetings. So I'm really excited to be able to be an outlet for those people. I'm excited to work with our new Senator Templeton. Very excited about that. And a little bit more about me. I am on Delta Gamma exec as vice president of programming. So I run all of the events and things like that there. I work in the student engagement office as a student assistant. So I have a lot of firsthand experience with organizations and I guess working with those to kind of solve those problems and assisting our pro staff, things like that. But that's really about it, I guess. Yeah.
Any questions? I have a question, but it's for Josh. Josh, did you find out whether or not that's actually in the School of Health Professions or if that's College of Business? Doesn't matter because we have seats open in both. What? Healthcare management?
Huh? I think they moved it because I get the School of Health Professions newsletters. Also.
Any questions? All right.
I got another question.
Senator Vargas.
Do you plan on being an anchor splash coach again?
It's actually going to be Anchor Games this semester, so it's a little bit different. I don't know what sport we're doing yet, but if there is an opportunity for me to coach a team, I will. And if there's an opportunity for SGA, I will definitely come let y'all know.
Yeah, I'm down. Josh, by the way, even if it is in the College of Arts and Sciences, could we use one of the student body at large positions that is designated? Well, not for the specific classification, but we have 5 that are in the Constitution. It lists 5 that are for each class, but then it lists another 5 that is designated for whatever. So could we have 2 open for that? Okay, is it confirmed? Not.
The only thing I'm finding is like the master's course, and it's in the School of Health Professions.
This is a master, it's a bachelor's, okay.
But I do get School of Health Professions. Yeah.
Zoom, I apologize for the awkward wait. In the meantime, how about them Cowboys? Yeah, I'm named after like that team's like my namesake, so I'm hurt.
About to be single because of that.
I don't want to ask.
Oh, no, it's not that.
Senator Mattern? No, not while Jerry Jones is owner.
Doesn't mean you can't.
I have more hope, and this shout out to my Houston Senators. I have more hope for Houston Texans than I do the Dallas Cowboys right now. Just to make sure that, or just to keep this rolling, Josh, how close are you to finding out? If 2 minutes, okay, then I can wait. Cool.
How's everybody today?
Oh, by the way, I would like to announce Senator Kipp is engaged. So if we could all get a round of applause. Oh, Senator McCain has a question.
On that note, Ben and Christine are engaged.
Also have former Senators Buchanan and Barrett engaged, soon to be Buchanan and Buchanan. Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move forward as is, and if there's a problem, we can easily fix that. So, Robert, if you could, actually, if anybody has any questions, I'm sure there might be questions now, maybe, no? I don't know. All right, Robert, if you wouldn't mind escorting Shelby out to the hallway. Escorting. All right, other than giving her a heart attack and hoping she makes it out all right. Any comments? Maybe that Landry is stupid.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Shelby is the reason we're allowed to wear jogger scrubs in nursing school. So she's made a difference everywhere she's gone. So she did, that was her.
Any other comments? All right. All right. I entertain a motion to nominate and confirm Shelby Kipp to the Senate seat for the School of Health Professions. And that is a correct seat. All in favor of approving and confirming Shelby Kipp to said seat, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji. All opposed, please raise your hand or do a crying face emoji. Any abstentions? All right, seeing none. Valerie, if you could go get Robert. Please give her a big round of applause because that was awkward. All right, cool. If I could have all four of the senators that were nominated to come up here, and I will swear you all in all at once. Zoom, you can see the screen, correct? Take that as a yes. All right, if you wouldn't mind, Chief Burleson, please come up here and swear our new senators in.
Please raise your right hand. Can y'all see? Is it cut off? You got it? Okay. I insert name. Beautiful. Do solemnly swear that I shall faithfully represent the interests of the student body of the University of Texas at Tyler. Sorry, period. I should dutifully uphold and preserve the Constitution and bylaws of the Student Government Association while ardently executing the office of insert position for the student body at the University of Texas at Tyler. Congrats, yeah.
Okay, we will go ahead and move speedily along to our budget presentation. I entertain a motion to discuss the budget for the spring semester.
Carry said motion.
All right. Oh, no. Spoiler. All right, Zoom, can y'all see that? Yes. Okay, cool. Ready?
Okay, guys, for the next hour, I'm gonna be up here. No, okay, so before we go and talk about what the next semester or this semester is gonna look like, I wanted to show you guys what we spent money on last semester. And it's not gonna take that long. It's all on there. Take a look. You can go to the next one. So as a reminder, this is what we started with for the whole year. So the whole 28,959 got split in half. And so we had about 14, I think it was 14,479 and 50 cents for last semester and this semester. So and as a reminder, the SGA training is only for this semester, and then SGA awards, banquet, whatever you want to call it, is only for this semester as well. Okay. So I wanted to break down each of the little categories. So SGAC, only 8 organizations actually requested funds. Women in Math and Science requesting twice, and then Rolling Patriots Guild requesting twice. And then I have like a breakdown of what they actually ordered. If you guys are interested in looking at that, I can show you guys. So yeah, so from least to greatest, this is what they had requested. So like $38 over there. And then on the next one, you'll see that HSA was the one that cost the most. But we actually left $1,527 in SGAC. So you'll see how that kind of like transfers as we go along. So we didn't spend a lot of money on SGA training, senator projects, events, and some other things, and you'll see that on the next one. So events is kind of pretty forward. You can see that Constitution Day cost about $1,500. And then lunch with City Council. Sodexo for midnight breakfast was actually the only thing that we paid for, along with shirts, but that was SGA marketing. And then finals bag being about $170. That actually went over. There was no satellite campus events, so we still have many there. The beautiful shirts costed $500. This is kind of like TBD. This is more of the stuff that we're going to spend money on this semester, so that's why it's like under construction. And then office expenses, which is kind of funny because we allotted $75. So, but it all worked out, like I said. And then on the next one, you'll see that we actually got left with, well, there's actually one that, right, go down. Oh, no. So we actually was left with $628.03 for the last semester. So obviously that gets transferred to this semester. So it'd be the 14,000 plus the 600. And then the next one, you'll see where we kind of like switch things around. So SGAC actually decided that we were gonna lower SGAC by $1,000, transfer that to events. That's what the second one is. And then the 628 that got transferred We want to allot to that for t-shirts because we need new shirts and or we need to order more shirts. So yeah. And if you can't see the bottom, this semester we're gonna have $15,107.50. And that's it.
Any questions, comments? Senator Vargas?
So is this gonna be the permanent fix for this or no? You don't think there's gonna, you hope this isn't gonna be the permanent fix? I was gonna say, can we open this?
If there is a senator wanting to do a senator project and talk with Josh about getting new mics, preferably 3 too, so I don't have to keep passing my mic too. That would be great. Next meeting. Yes. All right. Any other questions? Senator Templeton?
So for student government events, are we able to do anything that involves food?
Have you been to midnight breakfast?
Other than that one.
Yes. Most of the events honestly typically have food. So yeah. We try to provide as much as possible. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, cool. Motion. Yes, we do have to approve it.
Motion to approve the budget.
For what semester?
For 2023.
All right,
Spring 2023.
awesome. Motion to approve the budget for the spring 2023 semester was motioned and seconded. All in favor of approving the budget, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji. All opposed, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji. Any abstentions? All right, seeing none, that passes. All right, next up, we just have a quick presentation by Robert on the calendar. Robert, if you wouldn't mind coming up here and discussing the SGA calendar.
He's saying it's gonna be quick, y'all. But okay, so I'm gonna be saying the events. I'm gonna be putting it in the group chat later. So if you have any questions, it's gonna be in the group chat. So we have the Council of Presidents coming up on February 20th. We will be having an event for that. On March 4th, we will be having the big event that will be a required event for senators. Midnight breakfast will be on March the 22nd. That will also be a required event for senators, unless you're both of those, unless you're at a distance campus, it will be required. We are looking at the SGA banquet towards the end of April. We'll most likely be probably inviting administration, so it'll be a fun time. We're also looking at visiting the Houston campus. So Jorian, if you could send me weeks in which y'all don't have like a ton of events, that would be great. Just send it to my work email, arbin@uttyler.edu. And then the accessibility walk is still TBD, which that we were talking about making that required. So it will be. Me and Valerie are working on getting together volunteer events. And also, if any of you ever have any ideas for volunteer events or just any event in general, please come to events committee. We meet at 4:30 in the room next door, right before SGA on Tuesdays. And if you can't make it, then just text me and group me or email me or text me, carrier pigeon, whatever, or smoke signal. I'll take it. Other than that, any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, thank you.
All right. And we will send those dates out in the group me just so that everybody has them. And of course, we'll remind you as time goes on. All right. Advisor comments.
Let's see if this reaches. Whoa, it does. Okay, so I want to compliment y'all. Y'all did a really good job of asking questions for both the dean and our new executive director. Y'all were pretty heated last week. and pretty upset. And so to see y'all ask really great questions of them respectfully, hopefully they addressed a lot of your concerns. Now, just remember to make sure to take that back and share that with the students that you've talked with as it relates to those concerns. Of course, Chloe does a really great job of getting the minutes up and getting these recordings up. And so you can always encourage students to go back and watch this recording, today's recording, so that way they can hear, what they had to share. I also did appreciate one of the questions on that side. I'm not sure who shared it, as it relates to our distance campuses. As those campuses continue to grow, I think that's going to be a good question that's going to get asked from those students of what can housing do to help them as well. So really great overall. Going through the reports, I do want to remind everybody, especially when we're asking questions of speakers podium and given our student voice reports, make sure that you're providing updates as it relates to your group, not individually. And so I know we have a lot of new senators today. And so that's a big thing, is that you're not sharing your problems, you're sharing your constituents' problems. What is the overall issues that are going on? I was telling Camry, this is one of the largest student groups we've had, student governments we've had in a really long time. And so it is super awesome to see this group grow. It's important to make sure that we have representation across every college and every campus. And it makes my heart happy to see y'all be interested and passionate to represent your peers. Beverly, I am beyond proud. That budget presentation is one of the best budget presentations that I have seen in 7 years be presented to the Senate. And I mean that. It is awesome to see the breakdown, and to explain to y'all need to be informed how you as an organization are spending student fees. You are student fee funded. And so to see that money go back to the students is important. And to see how you appropriately adjusted is awesome. And so I do want the Senate to be aware that yes, we did budget the office very small at the beginning of the year. However, there was a lot of exciting opportunities to move the student government office downstairs to the main floor. And they didn't have computers. You need computers to be able to operate. And so as your budget authority, I made that decision to go ahead and utilize the purchase of those desktops. So that way you would have a space to be able to work out of. So that way you did not have to use your personal equipment. I also saw that the SGAC line was a little bit lower as far as they weren't spending. So it made sense that we weren't going to break the bank per se. So that's where that large expense was. Everything else has been on track, and Beverly has done a really great job of staying updated. I know my schedule is complex, and so when we do meet, we've always matched up, and we've always made sure that what we both have line up. So, but kudos to that. I'm excited to hear about the events that y'all have got planned. I will update y'all on Midnight Breakfast, but based on your updated budget that you just approved, a lot less concerns as far as how you're going to fund Midnight Breakfast. And hopefully I'll have some good news to share with y'all. And then as a reminder, next week, we have a very special guest, our president, Dr. Kurt Calhoun will be here. So make sure to, be on your end game, do exactly what you did today, be respectful and represent your peers. And so hopefully he's got some exciting updates to share with y'all and look forward to next week. And then beside me, Ms. Camry Tharp is our Assistant Director of Student Engagement, one of our assistant directors. Starting in February, she will be your temporary SGA advisor.
He's having a baby, that's why.
Yes. What's the baby's name? Josephina. Sticking with the J's. All right. And just to clarify too, it's not just President Calhoun, it's also his chief of staff, Stephanie Fenter, and it's also the chief business officer, and I believe it's executive vice president of administration, Dwayne Morris, coming to attend as well. So business professionals address. If you have any questions about what that is, just direct message me. And of course, be on y'all's best behavior. I know y'all will be. And bring your questions. They will be kind of just giving an overview of what's been going on campus, what's been going on system-wide. They might even touch on what's been going on in the legislature that will affect us, because there's a lot of hot topics in there. So it should be a pretty fruitful conversation. Send y'all's professional headshots over to Chloe, and Cowan Center events. If you could go on the Cowan Center's website, go and look and see what's showing. Please go out and attend. We're trying to get more attendance out there. If we can get more attendance out there, there's a chance that we get more shows out there. And then Senator of the Week. Emma Harlan. Emma was nominated for the great reporting that she did last week and making everybody aware of everything that's going on at UPine. So she did great work. We appreciate it, and we're always eager to hear about what's going on at UPine. So awesome. I know this has been a super short meeting, so if y'all want to continue the meeting, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I have nowhere to be. Motion and seconded to adjourn. All in favor of adjourning this meeting, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji. All opposed, please raise your hand and do a thumbs up emoji. Any abstentions? Seeing none, that passes overwhelmingly. All right. See you, Zoom.